crazy Solana price prediction, and how I'm getting ready for Solana's next upcoming move here. My name is mikemadz. Let's start this video. Before we start the video, please do me a huge favor. Please like, comment below, check out my links in the description, and of course, super important, subscribe. Let's stop wasting time. Let's jump straight into it. Super important, the article about Solana from VanEck. What is VanEck? Who is VanEck? VanEck actually is a super traditional ETF and mutual fund management firm, and it is super interesting to see VanEck being bullish, clearly bullish here on Solana. A lot of technical things here which we covered in my recent videos: monthly active users, active developers, data throughput here, comparison. Of course, Solana here absolutely dominating in data throughput, and especially after the implementation of Firedancer, you can see here no comparison to the other chains. What else do we have here? Solana developer market share compared to other monolithic chains, which is Sui and Aptos. Sui and Aptos here being upcoming layer ones, and it is interesting to keep an eye on that. Of course, Solana right here dominating the market share. Interesting to see if Sui and Aptos can manage to chip away some of the market share from Solana here. I personally don't think so yet, but in the next bull market, it would be interesting to see how those two are going to perform. I think they might perform well here, but that's another topic for another video. Let's go down here. Solana revenue, fees versus expenses. You can take a look at the article yourself. The most important thing here about this article here, the most interesting thing is the price prediction from VanEck on Solana. As you can see here, the base case, you have to keep in mind by 2030. So this is not by next year or the next bull market, by 2030. The base case here is $335. Bear case, basically where Solana is actually dead, let's say, it's going to be $10. And the bull case here from VanEck on Solana by 2030 is going to be above $3,000. So of course, super exciting number. And it's interesting to see such a traditional firm here throw out this crazy price predictions here on Solana. As you might know, I speak about the $1,000 range here by the next bull market, and people kill me for that, call me ultra bull and call me unrealistic. Of course, $1,000 by the next bull market is too bullish, but is possible. But it is interesting to see here VanEck here claiming a $3,000 Solana by 2030. We have to keep in mind, of course, by 2030, of course, $3,000 will not have the same purchasing power as of today. Of course, inflation is going to chip away of that. But why I think this article is important is not about the price prediction, but it is interesting to see that the sentiment here on Solana, even in the institutional area, is changing here slowly but surely. So in my opinion, not a lot of time left here to jump on Solana before the majority does. So is it a good time to jump in right now or not? Let's cover that. Super important Solana chart update. Last video, I clarified why it's okay to have short-term pumps to the upside, and why it's even more important though to break certain resistance levels in order for me personally to finally flip my sentiment. If you're new here, my current sentiment is that we're going to have one more scare to the downside for the entire market, of course, not just for Solana. And this is why it's important to break certain levels in order for my sentiment to slowly change and to be bullish here in the short term. Long term, of course, I'm super bullish on Solana. And of course, I expect Solana to be much higher here, especially in the next year. Let's take a look at the chart. At the weekly, we got a rejection here, and we're currently retracing to the last top here. If Solana manages to push through, and you have to keep in mind the breakpoint event is here on this weekend, and usually the breakpoint event has some bullish news here for Solana. If Solana manages to break through and have multiple weekly candles here above this level, okay, if it closes multiple weekly candles here above this level, consolidates, then most probably Solana is going to teleport straight to $50, okay? If Solana gets a rejection here, last year after the event, of course, FTX was in play, but last year after the event is where things took turn. If Solana manages to be rejected here, then I think it's going to initiate the second scare here slowly but surely, which doesn't mean we're going to go straight down. Of course, we can move lower, consolidate, create a lower high again, and then move from there. If you look at the RSI here, it doesn't look too good. We are getting in the overheated section here, and especially if you compare it to the last top where the RSI was even lower and we didn't even manage to push through. So things that speak against a follow through here to the upside is, of course, a higher RSI, first of all. Second of all, we weren't able to push through this resistance yet. Third of all, of course, super important, currently the crypto space is moving against the S&P, which is very untypical. In the future, and then I'm talking years, of course, I see a decoupling here of Bitcoin and the S&P, but currently at this times, the S&P gives the tone of the market and the S&P is currently in free fall. So third thing that speaks against the crypto space to move higher. And the fourth thing is total market cap. Okay, this is not new liquidity that's coming into the market, which would be surprising at this current stage. This is simply a rotation here, a rotation from weak altcoins into Bitcoin. Okay, so as you can see here, the total market cap is simply at the same level here it was a couple months ago. So no new liquidity is coming to the market. That will come when the money printer turns back on, which is most probably next year and not this year. Of course, keep in mind, I can be super wrong here. And if you don't have a Solana position, there is a possibility, of course, for you to be left behind. So don't take my words for granted. This is simply my strategy, and this is simply how I'm handling it. Again, as I always repeat, I have my Solana position. This is why I'm fine if Solana is going to dip down here, because this simply means for me, I'm going to accumulate more Solana if we move lower. Alright guys, coming to the end of the video, keep in mind the breakpoint event is here soon, and I'm expecting bullish news for Solana here on the event, so we'll cover that in my community section here over on YouTube. But as always guys, do your own research, super important. Be bullish on yourself. As always, the most important thing is
this is God-given, not for blue tops like Mars Simpson, just hard discipline, pot simmering, cooking up, no rocks in the pan, watching the plan form in the sand, bidding castles out of thoughts in our head, late nights, no sleep in my bed, trying to see my dreams manifest. Look at that, now look at that, we